Talk a little bit about yourself and how did your wrestling career got started?
Well, that's actually a pretty funny story. I was about 19, young and dumb. I just wanted to be a wrestler, and I I went to this guy, and there was this promotion because I'm from southeastern Ohio. There's a promotion nearby there, and it was the closest place I could find and the cheapest. And I went in there, and I gave the guy about $600, which is all he told me he wanted. And he taught me, what I thought at the time was to be wrestling training. In hindsight, he just kind of took my money, and I kind of had to learn things the hard way, man. I got beat up a lot, a whole lot. I spent about 4 years, 3 or 4 years in the southeastern Ohio area, and I I really didn't know a whole lot, but I had this desire to learn, and I was a student of the game, so to speak. And I mean, I never went to like an actual school until about 3 or 4 years in, which was, I mean, I was young and naive, and I thought I was getting legitimate training, and man, I got the tar kicked out of me a lot. Uh, Flash forward to about 2007, I've wandered over to West Virginia a little bit, and I run into this guy named Brian Logan. Now, some places, you hear the name Brian Logan, and you're like, whoa, because he's notorious for this video on the internet where he attacked a fan, and he was a part of the Disciples of Sin in OVW back in OVW's their heydays when they were the developmental deal for the WWE. He wrestled as Damien. He was in the stable with Batista and I forget what his name was at the time, but Tomko was in there. So yeah, Logan was legitimate, and he's a machine in the ring. But his character, man, he's definitely a character, and I wasn't able to finish my training with him. A lot of things played into that, but shortly after I left his school, I hooked up with a guy named Viper, who is really big into the death matches and stuff like that. He wrestles for CZW, IWA East Coast, and I finished up my technical training with Viper. I mean, like I said, it was a long road for me to get into the wrestling business, and I'm pretty fortunate that I didn't end up dead, to be honest with you.
Wow, that definitely had to be a scary feeling for you to go through. But I guess it's one of those things that it definitely teaches you something, and here you are, you're still here, you're still standing to this day. Um, so obviously, I first heard of you through UWF. You
hmm
have become a regular there now, and what made you decide to join that company?
Well, I'd never actually wrestled in Kentucky. A lot of people, I think, down here are running the impression that I just got into wrestling, but I mean, I've wrestled in Pennsylvania and Ohio and West Virginia before I even ventured down here. I moved down to Kentucky, and I just happened to randomly wander into the UWF, and at that time, I was taking a break from wrestling, and I was having a lot of personal problems in my life. I mean, if you think I'm skinny now, back then I was probably about 165 pounds, just trying to get my head straight. And I walk into the door, and everybody knows that Felony Fox, she's one of the owners of the UWF, and I sit down and I talk to her and some other people about wanting to wrestle there. And she's giving me this look, man, and it's pretty funny. Because at the time I was real pale, had real short hair, I was clean shaven, and I was wearing an Old Navy hoodie and a ball cap, and I looked like I couldn't have been a day over 16, and I'm in my mid 20s. She just kind of gives me this look, and she's kind of saying, "So you're a wrestler?" I'm like, "Yeah." You guys you have any DVDs with you? And I scurried to find one in my car, and I ended up sending her some links to my matches, and they decided they wanted to bring me in, but I actually started wrestling for the UWF last fall, but I only wrestled about 3 matches because, like I said, I was really scrawny and I wasn't healthy, and I had 2 matches, almost dislocated my shoulder in a match against the superstar. At the time, he was the Masked Superstar. Now he's known as Tom Wing. And then the Weasel John Strange, the very next week, I bruised my sternum in a match against him. And I just realized, like, man, after two injuries in 2 weeks, I've got to take a break for a while. And I took a break for about the first 6 months of 2012, and I kind of decided that, what I wanted to do, I really wanted to get back in the ring, but I needed to get healthy. I wanted to get in the best shape of my life. And so far, considering how I used to look, I'm doing pretty well. But I got in touch with the UWF in May, and I think when I told them that, at first, at the end of the year, in 2011, when I told them, I'm hurt, I need to take a break, I think some of them might have thought, well, he's just a wimp and he can't handle it. He says he wants to get into shape. And nobody ever actually said that, but, I kind of got the vibe. Maybe a couple people might have thought that. And then I showed back up, and they're like, wow, he really has gained about 40 pounds. So he's taking this seriously. And, Georgetown has really kind of revived me as far as wrestling goes. And it's, I'm not there anymore at the UWF, but I can't say enough good things about my time left in Georgetown, because it really, when I walk in the door and when I've left, I'm just a totally different person, and I'm a totally different wrestler. It's just, and the way they welcomed me in there, it really, that they really went above and beyond to help me. And I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for all the fans of the UWF. A lot of great memories there.
It definitely had to revive you in a huge way, considering you won the UWF Light Heavyweight Championship over Triple R Superstar Ravishing Ronnie Roberts. How did that feel when you won that championship?
Well, when I won the championship, leading up to that, man, I had, like I said, I'd taken the 6 months off for injuries before. I'd suffered a concussion. I had bruised ribs, and this was after I came back. And I was trying to get this match against Cujo, and then I ended up going one-on-one with him finally, and he beat the crap out of me. But I just kept coming back, and I'm wrestling the whole time. Chadwick and all the people are telling me, you need to take time off, you need to relax. My opinion was, I'd spent 6 months on the shelf. I wasn't going to take any time off. And right place, right time. Bobby Blade hit the blade cutter on Triple R, and he pointed back at the curtain, and I happened to be right there because he told me when he went out there to confront Ronnie, he said, he was in the back, and he told me, he said, I want you to keep an eye out and look through the curtain, because I've got a present for you. And I just kept thinking, well, what's he talking about? He hits that blade cutter, and he points, and I knew what he was giving me my chance. He was giving me my opportunity. I ran out there, cashed it in, and that's the first time that I held a championship in a long time. And I know a lot of people were kind of skeptical. They're like, okay, it's not really, heroic of him to cash it in like that. But, Triple R Superstar, as good of a wrestler as he is, I mean, he hadn't really been a true champion. I mean, he'd just been cheating here and there and getting wins that were not very heroic, so to speak. So I figured, what comes around goes around. If you're going to, cheat to get victories over John Noble and all these guys, then I might as well take advantage of a situation. And when I won the belt that way, I knew there was criticism on me, but, I mean, the way the fans reacted, it was really a great moment for me. So I knew when I won the belt that I had to go above and beyond to prove that I wasn't just, at the right place at the right time,
For those of you just joining us, this is Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. I'm Kenny C here, and I'm joined with UWF's Jerry Bishop, former light heavyweight champion of the UWF. Obviously, I look at you, and I know you get this all the time from your friends, family, and fans. You look like Edge a little bit, and you kind of look like Shaggy as well. Well, you got the Edge attire, and then you have the features of one Shaggy, Scooby-Doo. Does that bother you when people say, it's the guy that looks like Edge and Shaggy? I mean, how do you feel?
I mean, the Shaggy thing used to bother me when I was younger, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those things like, if hopefully I don't look too much like Edge because, if you look too much like somebody else, it's really going to hinder, your advancement, no matter how far up you can go. Some people are going to say, well, he looks like Edge, There have been times that I've actually thought about wrestling with a mask on. I decided, if people want to call me Edge, they want to call me Shaggy, that's fine. You won't see me bringing a Great Dane out to the ring. And as far as the Edge thing goes, I've asked this question all the time, and I'm surprised you didn't ask it. Everybody always asks me, are you going to start doing the spear? And to be honest, I've thought about it, but I know that if I do it, the minute that I do it, everybody is going to expect it every time, and I just decided, I'd rather try to do my own thing, I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved watching Scooby-Doo when I was a kid, and I think Edge is he really revolutionized the business and for smaller guys like myself, because, when I was, it's a true story here, when I was about 13, 14 years old, I turn on TV and I see Edge for the first time on, a national professional, wrestling, And before that, when I was a little kid, I'd always been told, hey, you're tall and you're slim, you'll never be able to be a wrestler. And I look at Edge and I see, well, here's a guy that, get the same thing that I've got going on. He's not short and compact because, stereotypically all the high flyers are guys that are, shorter and they're stronger, or they're at least smaller so they can, do flips and dives. You got someone like me I'm actually taller than a lot of the heavyweights, but I'm not big enough to be a heavyweight, So I spent my whole childhood thinking I'd love to be a wrestler, but I could never do it. And then I see Edge, and I decided, well, if he can do it, so can I. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever make it that far, but, I figured, I see him on TV, tall, slim, and it kind of gave me some motivation to get in there and give it a shot when I got older.
I definitely look at myself as a tall, slim dude myself, and he's a tall, slim dude. You a tall, slim dude. You know, tall, slim dudes got to stick together, man. You know,
Exactly, that's right.
I may not have the wrestling physique per se, but that's the beauty of internet radio or radio per se. You don't need to be the tallest. You just gotta be in front of a microphone. Whereas you have to perform. You gotta entertain, and it seems like the quote unquote little people, well, the undersized. That's a better term that I would like to say. The undersized people have to work twice as harder to perform. I'm happy for what you have done. I'm happy when you won the light heavyweight title, and I just want to thank you for joining me for this interview. And this been quite a crazy night, mostly on my end. But I appreciate you hanging in there with me because I guess someone else would have just hang up and say, "Oh, I'm done with this." But you hang in there with me, and I appreciate you hanging in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, and thank you for being on. And I hope to see you
One
again.
more thing, man. I wanted to plug a show. There's an upcoming appearance I have.
Okay, go right ahead.
Pro Wrestling Freedom in Corbin, Kentucky on November 3rd. I'm definitely going to make an appearance. I'm going to make an impact. PWF is the place to be. Any fans want to see me? Pro Wrestling Freedom, November 3rd, Corbin, Kentucky.
And yeah, I've heard about that. It's a new show in Kentucky. Everybody keep an eye on it. Pro Wrestling Freedom. I guess you can look for it on Facebook, and they'll give you more info. The first show they have Vader was there, and the second show they got a lot of surprises in store. So be on the lookout for that, and go out and support local indie wrestling people. Very, very important. But thank you for your time, Jerry, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Kenny.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Jerry Bishop joining me here